finish, we get a summary. So we hit finish, great. Now, say that this backup is run. Let's say, okay, now we have that backup going to the F drive. Let's talk about getting it off-site. So we open up our image stream client, which isn't installed at the same time as all our backup and recovery. Okay. So it's going to launch this agent, and then in this agent, we have our wizard viewed right away. So we go set up online backup. We go set up online backup, and then it gives us our familiar Windows Explorer tree view. So we have the different drive letters. The F drive is what I'm using for backups. If I full check mark this, that means that anything added to this directory is going to be backed up. So right now I have all this information running a backup. With the same tool, I can just get my documents, I can get pictures, anything on the C drive, whatever you'd like to get. The box means that the whole directory is not selected, but something within this directory is selected. So I can see what that is by just going down, and that's going to be probably that we selected my documents. So we hit next, comes to a scheduler. So this is to schedule your off-site backup. How often do you want to run the backups online? Well, your initial backup you may not even schedule. You may just run the backup, and typically you would schedule as soon as the initial backup's completed. The first backup could take some time. You can watch the speed report, about an hour per gig, a little over that. Depends on your environment, depends on a lot of things. But this allows you the flexibility to deal with that. And you can also open up the task scheduler in Windows and put even more customizations on how that runs. Different behaviors, maximum runtime, which is a common one, especially for individual users. You can add email backup reports and designate the email or emails that you like to put here. Frequency, hourly. If you're just running, if it's a file server, you could run this every hour, no problem. It works great for file systems. If you're talking about image-based systems, those are a little bigger files. They may not even finish within an hour. So you want to, but it depends on your environment. Most of you will probably have incremental files that will be less than a gig, in which case you could also run hourly, but it still might be a little overkill. You can also, you said this is run as a Windows service, in which case I'd have to enter the Windows domain name and username and password. So that runs the service, even if I'm not logged in. So basically our system isn't limited to only backing up local drives, as some systems are. I believe Carbonite Pro just announced that they're now letting people back up external drives. You know, thumbs up for them for finally getting on there, but I've always needed to back up an external drive. Our system just bases everything off of your Windows permissions. So whatever this user has permissions to read and write is what we can back up. So we hit finish. Schedule's going, great, it's going to run a backup. Nothing's probably changed, so the backup's going to happen very quickly. We have a restore mode. This restore mode is nice, kind of. It's going to give you bold dates for days that have backups run, and you can go back, you know, months, years, whatever it is, and select a particular date to which you like your backups to refresh. Or you can just go forward with whatever's new, and it'll just give you a list of everything that you have, and then you have a drop-down next to each file with a version history. I actually prefer to go through the classic view for recovery because it lets me expand the page a little more, and I can see more information. I'll go ahead and refresh this here. So here are all the different machine names. These are all VMs that we backed up using this account. So Lasso Demo is the one we're on now. If I hit the name of the file, it shows what's in there. If I expand, and it gets, you know, the Windows tree view. So I have the F drive. I can arrange by name, size, or date modified, whatever it is. Or you can see the backup job name files here. So let's say I wanted to get backup job 1, incremental 1 through, gosh, it's 57 incrementals. I could shift select this whole thing and then just say, okay, let's recover this selected data. Not after a lot of data, it doesn't give us enough time to do a demo to recover that much. But once you recover the information, you select the destination drive and it downloads it there. And then it comes to, okay, now you have an image-based backup. What can you do with it? Then we're back to using Image Creator. We don't have to use Image Creator through the wizard if, let's say, we use our backup drive as the restore option also. So I'm just in Windows Explorer right now. can just right-click one of these images and just do a quick mount, and it's going to mount the drives and ask me, okay, here's the summary of this backup job. Hey, we identified multiple incrementals of this backup job. Which one would you like to do? It's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't realize there was a later version. Give me the latest. And it's going to say, okay, great. What would you like to name the new virtual drive we're going to create using this image? And we'll do it, virtual drive is Z. You want to calculate it for read and write or just write. Next, gives you again, the recovery view shows you the chain that it's going to recover in, so you don't have to do it yourself. Finish, and it's going to load us into the new VM that we just created. There we go. So, being that this is an Exchange server that we covered, let's talk about granular Exchange recovery. So I go to Exchange Granular Recovery, open up this agent, and it's going to bring me this wizard. So first, I take my source data. So I have my source data, I hit Browse, and now I'm going to look for, what is the EDB that we just recovered. So I'm going to go to the Z drive. I'm going to click through, go to Mailbox, there's the EDB. So we open up the EDB file, automatically assumes where the log files are, temporary file path. If you need to change that for whatever reason, you could. Hit OK. Now up here in this top section, it's going to refresh what our backup looks like. This is what the Exchange backup is. And tell the information for the user here. Now we have options for recovery. If we're doing electronic discovery for some type of legal reason, then we could export this information to a single PST file. More commonly, we're just going to open up an existing Exchange box. So here's the domain, server name, connect the public folders. And again, this is verifying based on the user that we're currently logged into Windows with. Great, so it populates what's live. And let's go through a simple use case. So user 1 comes to me and says, hey, I just deleted, or I can't find this PDF. It was really important. It was called management something. And you say, okay, let me look. And you pull this up and you say, okay, where are we going to look for this? In this user's mailbox. Or we can look across everything, whatever you want to do. We're looking for an attachment, and the attachment is titled something about management. So I'll find that now. So I get all these emails with the attachment with the name management in it. You can double click this, open it up, read it, see if that's the right one. Here's the attachment, management guide. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. Perfect. So we have the mail there. Now we need to recover it to him. So we just open up his profile here, and we just drag and drop into his inbox. And voila, we've recovered the mail message for this user. Let's say we needed something, we need to know everything about one of our customers. We're having some sort of PR crisis, whatever it is. We need to figure out anything about a certain customer that was sent. So we're just going to check every box. I want to search for Nortel, anything involving Nortel. Find out. It brings up all these messages as well. I can shift select all these, and then I can export these to a target PST if we really needed to, or I can just do it to a specific user. Very, very simple to do. I could also save this report. Let's say I find this report, and for some reason I'm still working on it, changing it later. You can do that and come back as well. All right, this isn't just for granular recovery. If you need to pull over an entire mailbox, you can do that too. Just drag and drop. That would do that. Or you could just migrate your entire source mailbox to a new server. So go ahead and do that. Hit OK. It's going to create the mailboxes that already exist, so that's nice. And you hit yes, and it's going to go to town. And that's it. Pretty straightforward system, very intuitive, very simple, and fast and easy to use. Now, when we've done the demo, want to get to some questions. And feel free to keep bringing questions in. Okay, Jeremy has a great question. With cybercrime on the rise, what are you doing to address the concern of data breaches in your data centers? Our clients are privy to some extremely confidential and private information from their clients, and this is going to be a major concern to them. Absolutely. It's been a major concern to us, and surprisingly, we're one of the few providers in the market that acts that way. We have a number of different ways. First, all of our data centers are Tier 3 and 4 rated. We do all of our own NOC services. We also do numerous levels of encryption to guarantee that even if information was accessed, it wouldn't be readable. So we have a 256-bit AES encryption we put on the data before we transfer. We transfer over a secure 128-bit SSL, and then we store the data at an additional 1024-bit AES once it reaches the first data center. So once it gets to that first data center, we're then replicating the data to a geographically separate second data center. Now, that does not include those of you who require geographic locations outside of the U.S. So if you need your data to reside in Canada, we only have one data center in Canada, so you miss out on that geographic redundancy. But we do have backups on site in all of our data centers. All of our servers are, of course, RAID configured, various levels of RAID. Pretty standard stuff for a data center. So that's how we address cybercrime. Security is always our top priority. David asks, what speed would you recommend for a staging computer, CPU speed, and RAM? Well, it depends what you want to do with it. And you kind of see environment to environment. How much data are you trying to push and crunch? There are local processes with local encryption and file processing that you need to address. I usually recommend a Windows 7 box, loaded up with 8 to 16 gigs RAM, enough hard drive space to handle however much data you're putting over there, and then maybe even double that so that you can use it as a restoration point in case you need to restore it to some machine on site. And that's pretty much it. Just a real beefy workstation is really all we need. Pat asks, if we're not very tech savvy, would you guide our clients through setup, etc.? Yeah, I would recommend you then requesting a co-brand. So you would just be, pass online backup powered by SOS, and then you can direct your customers directly to us. For those of you not co-branding, you are responsible for level 1 tech support, which includes basic usage. And we have regular webinars and recorded sessions in our Partner Resource Center, and we host them weekly for you and your team. Jeremy asks, what's the size of the largest single file that can be backed up? Is there a limitation? There's always a limitation, but it's always kind of theoretical. In theory, there is no file limitation as far as the size of the data we can get up. It often depends on a lot of things. Sometimes we find that the specific environment just doesn't have, from where you're running the backups, needs to get beefed up a little bit before you can take that file. We see right now, about 500 gigs is about the point at which we'd probably start paying a little closer attention to what the backup's doing, and we might exercise a few custom options to get that up. Johnny's asking more of a setup question. ns1.rnwebhosting.net and ns2.rnwebhosting.net. Those are the two DNS that you want to point to. Don't use the right now web hosting one. Question from Antonio: Do you own your data centers, or do you use providers like Amazon or Rackspace? We don't use either of those providers, but they are not our data centers. It's our hardware, our NOC services. We let the data centers run their own business. Question, do you have a Mac OS client? We do have a Mac OS client, and we will be releasing a version of that to partners probably in the next 30 to 60 days. Right now, you can take a look at it. You can use any of the software in our system with an account that you have. So the authentication system doesn't matter if you're a partner or not. It's just it's a global authentication system. So you can go ahead and sign in the Mac client And we really encourage that, and we're looking for feedback. We're in version, I guess I wouldn't call it a version 2, but version 1.5 of our Mac client. So we're looking for lots of feedback from our partners. Back to our presentation real briefly, just to get another visual of what we're looking at here. I'll let Shaylin talk to some of the pricing, but where we used to be was just in this small area. And we actually used to recommend to our customers and our partners, go out and get, Intronis to do their image-based backup. Go out and get a Acronis to do that. Use some sort of third party to do image-based backup, and then take those backup files off-site with our service. Well, now that we've added ServerSave to our suite, we are now the only provider that truly provides an end-to-end solution. And not to sound, so marketing-ish, but we truly are one of the only ones who offers mobile-based backup applications, a terrific laptop and desktop strategy of backup, as well as server-based backup, whether it's file and folder offsite, local, or image-based backup offsite or local. Sorry, Johnny, rnwebhosting.com. Antonio asks, if our clients request S70 Type 2 certification document for the data center that stores their backups, will we be able to request that? Yes, you can. We also have such documentation and security features in our Partner Resource Center.
Yeah, are there any remaining competitive questions, features questions, what's included in the product?
Everyone has a good question. What level of security or what level of responsibility does the MSP have regarding client email content backup, and what countermeasures SOS are in place to ensure that Trojan malware does not transcend my file directory and that of other files? So for the most part, the encryption provides the protection from malware. So just because a file is up in our cloud doesn't mean that file has any access to any other file. It doesn't work that way. Other measures we have as far as responsibility of what's being backed up, that pretty much falls on the MSP. If you think about it, we've built a tool for you to use to get information off-site and also, information locally. As far as the content of that information, that's not really something our tool can address. If you want me to elaborate on that, I guess we can, but I think that's what I'm getting out of it. Daniel says they're going to be trying it themselves, so that's good. All right, more detail on security. So great. So for you, it looks like we have a few people who have some high security needs clients, and that's great news because that's really our bread and butter. SOS has remained kind of under the radar because we've developed such a secure service that some people deem overkill for the consumer or small home office customers. We've built something awesome for business customers, and as well as consumers. Just some people don't see the value of security. So if we go to regulatory compliance here at the bottom of our website, and we have our security compliance here. So it gives us all the regulatory compliances to which we adhere, et cetera.
And documents pertaining to this are also available in the Partner Resource Center, which is the same place you find your rebrandable sales and marketing information once you're a partner.
And video tutorials, email templates, and all sorts of great stuff.
Yep. Product guides and everything. We do everything we possibly can to set you up and get you selling.
And if you want to get more information, it brings us pretty much to the closing part of our webinar here today. And if you want to make sure you're calling our partner specialist and talk to them. So our partner specialist's job is to make sure that not only are you a good fit for, or is SOS a good fit for you, but that you're a good fit for SOS. They're going to go through a very detailed return on investment presentation. So they're going to go through and really evaluate your current customer pipeline, any type of marketing campaigns you have set up, or whatever you like to discuss, and make sure that if you do enter our program, you're going to make some money at it, and that you're entering the program at a level that you're going to really maximize that money you're going to make. So call them up here, 877-896-3611, and also get out the Kindle code now. The Kindle code today is, and you give this to your partner specialist, is G37QR. Again, G37QR, and I'll go ahead and type that in the chat. So give your partner specialist that code, and then give them your contact information, and we'll enter you in the Kindle drawing, and we'll be announcing the winner early next week. The Kindle code is for the Kindle drawing, so one of you lucky guys is going to get a free Kindle, not the Kindle Fire. Shout out.
Are there any more final questions? Because I think it looks like people are starting to make their way out of the webinar. Well, we thank you all very much for joining us and letting us take your time in explaining this program to you. We really think that you're going to like what you see, and you're going to like what you learn when you talk to your partner specialist, and we hope to see you on board.
Yeah, and I run all of our webinars for our partners who are signed up with us to discuss strategies and getting out to market, pricing strategies, marketing strategies, etc. So I look forward to speaking with you all eventually. So thank you all for your time. Have a good one.